Hey everyone, it's Steven. Today I have the 2024 Tesla Model 3 long-range all-wheel drive. This is the refreshed version of the vehicle that rocked the electric world back in 2017 when it first debuted. It was the best-selling electric vehicle for quite a while until it got beat by its big brother, the Tesla Model Y, which currently reigns supreme as the best-selling electric vehicle out there. So the Model 3 itself is a vehicle that kind of fits somewhere between the compact sedan and mid-size sedan segments. I would say that it's spacious enough for a family of 5, but it's probably not the most comfortable thing. The Model Y, the reason it's probably more attractive for a lot of people is that it feels more like a family hauler. So for the 2024 model year, Tesla finally gave this vehicle a much needed refresh. I've been waiting for Tesla to kind of do something to their vehicles for so long because honestly, the 2017 design was getting pretty stale. The exterior, the interior, Tesla has redone a lot of it. The interior is fantastic. I will cover that later in the review. The exterior is immediately noticeable because you've got these more aggressive headlights there. So they've done a host of new changes for the 2024 model year, and I think it's really blown me away. It's way better than I even expected would come from Tesla, and it honestly has fixed almost every issue that I had with the aging vehicle design. Another really cool thing for potential buyers of this vehicle is that Tesla has actually lowered the price of this vehicle pretty drastically. I think it was April 2024 that they did this, but it now goes below $40,000 for the base trim, which is going to be your standard range rear-wheel drive architecture. So that vehicle starts at just below $40,000. So impressive. You've still got a $7,500 federal credit if you do qualify for that, which can really make the price of this vehicle very compelling, right? A little bit more than $30K for all of the tech and the premium upscale interior is very, very impressive at this price point. So the one I have here is going to be the dual motor all-wheel drive long range version. That one gets a bigger battery, so you've got 341 miles of range on this one. For the base trim, that rear wheel drive single motor, that one only gets 270 miles of range, but that's more than some other vehicles I've reviewed, right? Which is pretty impressive for the base trim. This one comes to an as-tested price of $55,000. That is with the $8,000 full self-driving package, which I highly recommend you get. I will show you guys a demo of that later on in the review. It's a very impressive system, really top of the class. So the long-range all-wheel drive trim starts at about $47,000, and that gives you an 82 kilowatt-hour battery. You've got the range of 341 miles, like I said, which is very impressive and very accurate from what I've seen as well, especially in the nice summer weather we're having here in Minneapolis. For the drivetrain, you've got the all-wheel drive system with dual electric motors, one for each axle. That gives you 394 horsepower and 337 pound-feet of torque. Those are improved numbers from the older Model 3. That gives you 0 to 60 times of 4.2 seconds, which is very impressive, but at the same time, for most EVs with dual motor setups, you can get around that 4-second mark now. People will also be happy to know that the fuel economy on this vehicle is also very impressive. You've got 137 city, 124 highway for a combined 130 miles per gallon equivalent. That makes this one of the most efficient vehicles in the class. Since the electric vehicle market isn't that large yet, and this vehicle is kind of in a weird class somewhere between compact and midsize, it doesn't have that many competitors. I would say the most direct one might be that Ioniq 6, which I really, really like. That one blew me away for other reasons. I would say the driving experience of that vehicle is probably more enjoyable than this, but this tech really blows Hyundai out of the water. Another competitor is going to be the BMW i4, which I also reviewed, and I really love that vehicle. That had a very athletic, typical BMW nature to it, but that also was the M50. So if you want to step up, Tesla actually just released the Model 3 Performance. That has really cool new bucket seats. It has a lot of new looks in terms of the exterior, and you can really tell it's a performance model instead of the normal one, which I wouldn't say is necessarily the case with the previously designed Model 3. All right, let's take a look at the exterior of the 2024 Tesla Model 3. So with the refresh, you've got those sleeker headlights. I really love them. I think they were a much needed improvement over the weird kind of bulbous ones that, I don't know, the old Model 3 just didn't look like that attractive of a vehicle. I would say it looked modern and spaceship-like, but this one really looks more modern and attractive in my opinion. I think a lot of people are going to like the changes they made there. This color here is the no-cost option Stealth Gray. I don't know what's stealthy about it, but that's what they call it. You've got a few other color options. I like the blue one a lot. I think that one looks excellent, especially with the redesign. I actually think the white one looks fantastic though with the new wheels. I really like the colors of Teslas in general. Obviously people get some really crazy wraps out there, but the typical no-cost option, I would say, sparkles under the sunlight pretty well. So I think most people will be pretty happy with that, but you can also change to some other colors if you'd like. The front otherwise is not too notable. There's really not that much else that has changed, I would say, in terms of the front fascia. You do have a frunk here, has about 3.1 cubic feet of cargo space, so enough to fit a backpack, some groceries or something like that, but very easily operable from the center touchscreen. Going into the side profile, you've got those flush door handles as expected, and then you've also got a camera on the side here. So that's how you get those blind spot view cameras. They look pretty good. I do think it's an interesting design choice to kind of have these jut out, but otherwise the side profile is quite sleek. You've got the flush door handles. They pop out very easily. I'll show you guys a video of this as well, but you basically just walk right up to it and you can open it very easily. Oh, I can't open it because I'm using my phone as key and my phone is currently filming me. So basically if I had my phone closer to me, I could actually open it. But yeah, very easy to operate, and you'll see phone as key works quite well, I would say. So you've got the new wheel designs, which I personally think are one of my favorite things of this refresh. I absolutely hated the old Aero wheels. I honestly think they looked hideous. These are the 18-inch Photon wheels. I don't really know who names these things, but I like them. I think they look a lot better than the old wheels, and that's actually probably why I think the Model 3 is actually an attractive vehicle now. I really think the old one, I wouldn't necessarily say was attractive. You've got the typical sloped roofline look, and of course the pretty much full glass roof as well. It makes this car look very futuristic, I would say, but pretty much all EVs do that at this point. But yeah, that sloped roofline gives you cuts into the headroom a little bit for the rear passengers, but it looks really nice, right? You've got that full glass piece right there. Going into the rear fascia, not too many new updates here, but the big one is going to be the fact that they spell out Tesla now in this cool techie font, I would say. I think it looks way better than the Tesla logo. The Tesla logo, honestly, it looked kind of weird. It just didn't really fit the mold of the vehicle, but I really think this looks much better and makes it feel more luxurious. I guess it is kind of just a following the trend sort of thing right now, since all vehicles are spelling out their names these days, but I think this looks fantastic. The rear taillights also got a bit of an update, not too noticeable, but a small update to basically make them look a bit more sleek, just like the front. So overall, the vehicle kind of just, it really does look quite similar, I would say, like in terms of the size and the width and stuff like that. But overall, the updates were definitely much appreciated for the exterior. The trunk is powered as expected, very easy to open. Again, can't open it because my phone is right there, but it does have about 20 cubic feet of cargo space, so a decent amount, but it's not that large. I would say some other vehicles definitely have more, but this is a pretty small vehicle, so definitely practical with that trunk and the front. All right, let's take a look at the interior of the 2024 Tesla Model 3 long-range all-wheel drive. So there are actually a few ways to get inside the vehicle. Probably the easiest way is to use phone as key. I think most people will be doing that, where it detects my phone as the key. Very easy, I just get right in. All right, my seat is pushed back so that I have more space to show you guys things, but taking a look at the interior, you'll see that this is the black interior. Not too interesting. I personally like the white one a bit more, especially because it would contrast with the stealth gray color on the outside. But it looks very different from the previous design, if you guys remember that one. Let's go inside. And you guys might notice some interesting things, like this green Tesla here. You can kind of make it any color you want. I'll show you guys how to do that later in the infotainment system. But you'll see that there's a lot to like here, I think. The very minimalistic design that Tesla kind of has employed throughout all of their vehicles is definitely here, and it's really cool. You'll see this huge light bar. I love the ambient lighting strip that they've added across the entire dash and the very back. You can adjust those colors. I think they call it accent lighting. I don't know why they wouldn't just call it ambient lighting, but I guess they don't have it in the footwells and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I would like, but I mean, I still think this looks really cool. It makes it feel like a spaceship, right? You're in like kind of the cockpit area or something like that, right? I think the minimalistic design does well in certain areas, but also is annoying in certain areas. For example, no turn stalks, right? That's one of the first things you'll notice, right? It's like, how do you even start this vehicle? And you know, when you first get in the car, it turns on automatically. So you'll see the air conditioning immediately turns on. You know, the infotainment system is immediately interactable and everything is pretty much ready to go. But how do you start? It does tell you right here, press and hold brake. So if you hold the brake, you'll see this little menu show up right here, and that actually indicates how to go into drive or reverse. You just slide it up, go into drive, slide it back, you're in reverse. Tap, put into park. Very interesting and gimmicky, in my opinion. I personally would really prefer maybe, you know, like they had it before, just a turnstock that has the gear select on it. I understand why they would want to clean up this area, right? This looks very, very nice, very, I guess, minimalistic, right? You've got this nice thing that automatically goes like that. A host of different storage options here. You've got excellent wireless Qi charging pads right there. The wireless charging pads work very well. They don't overheat like many, many other ones that I've dealt with. And they are specifically designed for the current generation of iPhones, I feel. So I do think they might get dated in a little bit, but I think they work really well as of right now. The lack of the turning stalk is just weird to me. Like the buttons work fine. They're fine. And you do get this nice blind spot view monitor that they added in the 2024 redesign or refresh. I don't know what they're calling it these days. But it's just weird. Like there's just no real reason for it, in my opinion, right? Like it cleans up the design. I get that's what Tesla's going for, but it's one of those things where I really think there are people who are just not going to even consider this vehicle because of the lack of that. And maybe that's not the people that Tesla is targeting, right? I think they're targeting people who are more okay with experimentation. All right, let's talk about some of the interior material choices here, right? You've got this door panel, which looks significantly more luxurious than it used to. I really like the improvements they made on the interior. You've got this really interesting vinyl cloth that I feel like all EVs are doing, like very reminiscent of the Hyundai Ioniqs. I like it. I think it looks nice. It's difficult to keep clean, I would say, but it looks nice. You've got nice switches here. Everything feels very clicky, very easy to use, and this just all feels great. So granted, this is a pretty much brand new vehicle, less than 5,000 miles on this one. This button is how you get out of the vehicle. There's also a manual lever you can pull from there. And yeah, you've got this nice felt that lines the cup holder right here, and it feels really good. Again, difficult to clean though, so kind of a trade-off there. I love the vinyl cloth texture on the entire dash right there as well. And I love how there are no visible vents. You can definitely feel the air coming out from there, but there are no visible vents. Very, very nice. As typical with Teslas, everything is in this 15.4-inch touchscreen in the middle. There are pros and cons, I would say. Climate is all in here. You swipe up, you get the climate menu. You can adjust your airflow however you like. It's very cool. It looks very cool. Don't really know how practical it is, honestly. But it works well. I will say, like, that's the thing. Even though it's gimmicky, it works well. The passenger side also has a very similar door panel. It looks nice. You've got the speaker grill at the very bottom. I believe this is a 17-speaker system. That's the base system. You can't really upgrade it anymore. But it's the base system, 17 speakers, I think 2 amplifiers, 2 subwoofers, something like that. It doesn't sound as good as those, you know, the number of speakers would imply, but it's a decent system. I would say it's much better than the old one. I remember getting in a Model 3 in like 2018 or something like that, and I was very unimpressed by that sound system. It sounded pretty bad at pretty much all levels. This one, you've got some more clarity, you've got some more bass at lower levels. It sounds a lot better. Now let's take a look at the seats really quickly. They look fine, right? Nothing too special, but this is, again, a vehicle you can get for under $40,000 right now. And you've got these nice seats with pretty nice stitching. They're not the most bolstered, but, you know, that's not what I would expect. The Model 3 Performance actually gets new sport bucket seats, so they actually look good and they are more bolstered and supportive. These aren't, you know, anything special, honestly. They look fine. You do have power adjustability for both the driver and the front passenger. Unfortunately, the front passenger doesn't have a lumbar support though, which I found very strange. One thing that I really like in more luxurious vehicles is going to be the thigh extension. They don't have that on this vehicle, but that's, you know, expected for the $40,000 to $50,000 price range. All the materials though feel very good. This feels very nice. This like little leather storage cabinet right here, and like, you know, all of this stuff feels clicky, easy to use. I don't know, I really like it all. Cup holders are very easy. They've got nice rubber inserts to keep your drinks secure. And just things look good. I really like what they've done with the interior of this cabin. It makes it feel very much more upscale than the previous model. All right, let's take a look at the steering wheel here. So I've already talked about the lack of turning stalks and everything like that, but the actual steering wheel itself is nice. It's pretty large. I feel like it's reminiscent of Audi, Mercedes products. It's pretty thick. The actual appearance here, this texture looks fine. It's nothing too special, I would say. I like that Tesla is spelled out. I think the logo would have looked good as well here. You've got your turn signals here. You've got some light things right here. Almost everything uses these two things though, right? So In the previous model, I don't really know what to call it, the previous model or the previous generation, because I don't think it's really considered a generation. But in the non-refreshed version of the Model 3, you had some weird, like, I don't even know how to describe them, but they were not as easy to use as these are. So I will say these are easy to use. You can push them forward, back, scroll up and down. It's nice to use. You still use these for a lot of the adjustments in the screen. So for example, in this screen, you can adjust your mirrors and your steering, and you still use these little scroll wheels on the side. But for almost everything else, it's going to be in the actual infotainment system. This just has some of your quick things, right? So you've got camera button right here, pulls up the cameras very quickly. This helps you configure your adaptive cruise control or full self-driving, which I will definitely talk about later. That was probably the coolest part of this vehicle. And then you've got your windshield wiper, your talking, things like that. So this steering wheel is pretty standard. These are capacitive touch buttons, which is very interesting. So you'll notice they kind of flicker in and out. And now let's move on to this touch screen right here. So this is going to be the star of the show. I mean, 6 years ago, this was humongous, right? This was huge, unbelievably huge. Now it's kind of like, okay, most vehicles have something this size. I would say though that the clarity of this screen is very impressive, right? At the end of the day, Tesla being a software company really shows, because everything is so fast. All of these screens are instantaneous. It feels like an iPhone, right? It feels very easy to use, and I think that's what a lot of people will like. All of the things are pretty intuitive, right? You can open trunks, you can lock your vehicle trunk, like, aside from this, switching gear thing, I feel like the rest of it is actually quite intuitive. You've got all your settings here. Camera button is a quick button here. These are all adjustable. You can add things. This is going to be everything you have. I will show you guys some of the cool, crazy, gimmicky things that they've got in this vehicle. I wouldn't even say these are gimmicky. I would say that these are actually just really cool. You've got games. You've got karaoke. Karaoke is very cool. You've got a host of different games, and not even just games, just fun things to do. You've got the fart on demand, which I think is the most ridiculous thing, but also the most fun thing in the world. You can literally put it on your left scroll wheel, so that when you press it, it farts in a certain area. And I have it set on I'm so random, so it's a random type of fart, because someone decided to program many different types of farts, and these are honestly hilarious. I love it. I have to admit, I had a lot of fun using this with different passengers. You can choose where to put the fart, where you want to put it, and actually the speakers are quite good. They really lock down exactly where you throw it. You can set up a light show. You can make your car a boombox and play music from outside. There are external speakers on this vehicle, which is so cool. You can change your horn sound as well. There are many different options, and they are super cool.
Well, I never.
A romantic mode that turns on a fireplace. All right, this is romance mode, which turns on a virtual fireplace here. It also starts blowing hot air, which I think is so fascinating. Like that they've thought through all of that. I believe it also starts playing music and stuff. Yep. Very romantic. It's so cool, right? Like this is one of the things where like, who does this aside from Tesla? And I think it's weird, but it's cool. I don't think anyone is going to complain about this sort of stuff, right? You can basically make your vehicle into a Santa and play holiday music. It's just such ridiculous stuff like this. I love turning on Rainbow Road for this. I think it's so cool. And it just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's like, why would someone want this? But I think once you have the vehicle and you play with it, it's just something that brings you a lot of joy and a smile to your face, right? And at the end of the day, if a car can do that, that's a really good thing, right? I think as a company, I would invest a lot of money to making people feel like their car is unique and fun and special, and there are no other vehicles that can do this sort of stuff. Now, before we move to the back seat, I do want to look at some of the autopilot settings. These are very interesting. Full self-driving is an $8,000 option, so you can upgrade at any point. Since it is just software, you can buy it at any point. But if you buy it with the vehicle, it's an $8,000 package, and you have a few different options. You've got auto steer, you've got traffic-aware cruise control, which is basically what most vehicles have, right? A radar cruise control. Auto steer allows the car to actually, go through lanes and stuff like that. Full self-driving is absurdly powerful. All right, go autopilot. All right, immediately turning left. All right, we come to a stoplight, and it stops. Sees everything it needs to see. You can even see the scooter human. It's like alternating between a bicycle and a scooter. It also stops very far back. You'll notice it really stops at the line. Doesn't inch forward like most other vehicles do. All right, green light makes a very good left turn. And this one's even pretty confusing, I would say. Kind of in the middle of two lanes there, but in general, goes right back into the perfect lane center. I've also got Rainbow Road on, which is why it looks so cool. Car kind of cut in front of me there. Got a little nervous. It's a little confused about this lane right here. I'm confused about this lane right here too. This guy's cutting in front of me and it's stopping for him. It's a very polite autopilot. I do wonder if I change it to assertive, if it would like honk or like get in the way of vehicles and stuff. I also don't know what this... Oh, it's a bike lane. That's what that's indicating. Very impressive. It can even see bike lane marks. All right, still wants the light force on the steering wheel. Big pothole. Now we've got a left turn coming up here with two-way traffic. That'll be very cool to see what that looks like. I will say, because the full self-driving is quite polite and cautious, it really doesn't go unless it senses no one coming up. All right, turning left, there is a car coming, so it definitely is not going to go here. It's very nervous. There's a scooter there too, but the car feels confident that the scooter's not coming into the road, which he is not. Very impressive. It's so ridiculous. These are city streets, these are downtown streets, confusing for most humans. And this car handles them like a champ. All right, we've got a right turn coming here. Signals basically exactly when I would signal. I got a little nervous about something there. This is a very busy intersection. Tons of people, tons of scooters. Makes me nervous. It does right turn on red. All right, this right turn is pretty weird. Let's see if it can handle it. It's nervous. It's gonna let these people walk first. And see how it's not even it doesn't even get close until it knows that it's clear. It's very, very cautious. There are no lanes here, and it's still navigating quite well. This is like our half. All right, you've got a stop sign here. It's nervous, there are people. Full stop, and then it starts going. So impressive. There are no lane markers here. It just knows how to split the difference. It knows how to drive on the right side of the road. Turning right into a street that has very few markings, just follows the curb so well. And I'm here. And now I disengage it. It seamlessly disengages, super easy to take back control. And that is my sales pitch as a Tesla salesperson. Full self-driving is extraordinarily impressive. I've never seen anything like it. My passengers were very amazed as well. It works so well, not only on freeways, but on city streets, on downtown streets. Navigating through confusing, lanes, confusing construction, confusing one-ways. And it turns so well, it's very, very safe. I think that's the most impressive thing. Also a little bit annoying though at times, but when it comes to a stoplight or a stop sign, it will come to a full stop as, the law demands. But it's so good, and it's very, very cautious, right? If it senses a biker coming, if it senses any person walking, it will immediately stop, basically. You can also set a profile. You can make it chill, average, or assertive. I'm assuming assertive. I haven't tried it, but I'm assuming it would make it do more aggressive things, as in try and get around traffic that's slower, things like that, right? It's really easy to use. You just do a single click right here, and it immediately turns on. If you are navigating anywhere, it just immediately starts. And it really does feel like it is full self-driving. It gets me to my downtown hotel in Minneapolis from, you know, a park maybe 20 minutes away, and it does the whole thing. And it's such an absurd concept that technology is this good, and it's so cool, and I love it, and I really think everyone should try it before you knock it. All right, going into the second row of the Model 3, I would consider this a bit of a family sedan, so definitely important to see what the space looks like in the rear. I think people will be happy to see that it's not as small as it appears, I would say. The Model 3 does look like a pretty small vehicle. I think most people would consider it pretty small. You know, it's somewhere between compact and midsize. Oh, and everything, I find one thing really interesting is that everything turns off when I'm in the back. So I will tap that and wake it up. Yeah, I need some AC now. But yeah, going into the rear seats, I mean, you've got a decent amount of legroom, I would say. So this is my normal seating position as the driver, and definitely not bad in terms of legroom. Headroom is a bit more cramped because you've got that little sloped roof back, I would say. But at the same time, who is going to complain when you can look up and see this beautiful glass roof? Super nice. Tesla did say that they improved the sound isolation in this vehicle with more premium acoustic glass, I think that's what they call it. And it certainly feels like it. It sounds very, very quiet, very, very, you know, isolated from the world's distractions, I would say. I do kind of wish that this was one full pane, but at the same time, it still is huge and feels very airy. Being able to look up and just see the sky or, you know, buildings, whatever, it is a very, very cool experience that I really think only people get in these sort of EVs. So legroom, headroom, great. The big star of the refresh in the 2024 model year is going to be this 8-inch touchscreen back here, right? This is pretty cool. This is actually quite large, and you can do a lot of cool things with it. I think that's what most people probably don't expect, is that you can actually, well, you know, adjust your AC as expected, I would say. But you can also turn on your heated seats. So you've got heated seats for the back passengers as well. You can adjust the music. You can change music here. Of course, the driver can decide to lock you out, but you can change the music from back here. You can watch Netflix, YouTube, whatever, and you can play games. How cool is this? Like, such a unique thing, and it's so cool. Aside from the 8-inch center screen right there, the rest is fine. You've got that same accent lighting on the side here, so the door panels do look very nice as well. The speaker grille definitely doesn't look as fancy there, but it's there. The stitching is a little bit more lacking in the back, right? You don't have as much stitching here, but you do have some on the door panel and some on the sides, and it looks pretty good, right? Visibility isn't the greatest, I would say, from these windows. They are pretty small, as you can tell, but of course you've got that long glass roof, and look how beautiful that is. It extends all the way to the rear, all the way to the trunk. You will notice that there is no armrest. I think that is a very interesting thing, is that, like, you know, most people expect some sort of armrest that you can rest your arm on, but yeah, nothing like that. No pass-through to the trunk. If you want to get into the trunk, you're going to actually have to go out of the vehicle the traditional way. All right, let's talk about the 2024 Tesla Model 3 is like to drive. So with the refresh, Tesla mentioned that they pretty much updated everything, right? They've updated the exterior, they've updated the interior to make it more premium, more upscale, and the driving experience, making that better, having longer range, things like that. So in all, you know, purposes, I would say that this is pretty much a full redesign. I think, you know, if they updated maybe the motors, the battery, things like that, like, they would consider it a redesign, but maybe they're just not doing that language with Tesla vehicles. Only time will tell what's going to happen with that, but the actual driving experience is quite pleasant. I would say that some of the choices with the refresh, like having the actual gear select in this little slidey screen, I don't love it, you know, but I can get over it because the rest of the vehicle is extraordinarily impressive. So the camera quality, very, very excellent. You can really see everything very easily. One thing I want to talk about also is the auto park ability. The way that it identifies spots so easily and very, very quickly can tell you, like, oh, hey, you can park in this spot. Just tap it on your screen and it'll begin. The auto park is just so crazy and mind-blowing. I'll show you guys right here a clip of it, but I just couldn't believe how good it was at parallel parking. Pretty much, you know, with no guidance needed. You can be in almost any angle. As long as it identifies that there's a spot there, it'll find a way to kind of get you in that spot, and I think that is seriously impressive. So in terms of the actual ride quality itself, it's smooth. The acoustic glass definitely helps in terms of isolating, the environment, making it very quiet in here. Feels more premium than the 40K base starting price would suggest. I would say once you're getting to the 50, 60K and you're competing with, things more like a decked out Lexus or a BMW, Mercedes, those can be very, very quiet as well. But that's not something that we expected from Tesla, I would say, and they've improved in that area a lot. I think that's my favorite thing that I've noticed about this refresh is that almost all of the complaints I had when I drove a Model 3 in like 2018 are gone, right? Like I think some of the gimmicky stuff remains, but I think that's what makes Tesla Tesla, right? Like I can't really expect them to not do that sort of stuff. Like putting the turn stalks as buttons, like I get it, I guess. It's not my favorite thing, but like it's a thing that Tesla wanted to do, and they probably, no matter what was going to happen, they were not going to change that. Steering feel is very light, I would say. In general, it's easy to move, easy to maneuver. It doesn't feel like a sports car in any essence, right? Like it's fast in a straight line, 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds, but the handling is fine. It's a 4,000-pound car. It's not going to feel that great, but it is low center of gravity, right? Just kind of like most EVs, since you've got the battery right there. But I mean, it's fine. It's fun. I would say it's more fun than an SUV. So if you are considering driving dynamics, it's probably a bit more fun than the Model Y. I do believe Tesla mentioned that they made the front even more aerodynamic to basically have one of the lowest drag coefficients or something like that. And I'm sure it matters when it comes to the Model 3 performance, but for the Model 3 long range here, things are fine, I would say. The driving experience isn't going to blow anyone away, but it is exactly what I think people want it to be. It's quiet, comfortable. Like, I'm driving around in a very loud downtown, I would say, and I just don't hear anything but the AC humming, which is kind of what I want in an EV. So I think Tesla did a really great job with the refinement and upscale feeling of this vehicle. And on top of the ridiculously amazing tech, this is a very compelling vehicle. I kind of want one now. I honestly was pretty team Rivian for a while, and I wanted maybe another EV. Even the Ioniq 6 really blew me away, but this is giving me that same feeling, and it's because of the tech. The tech is finally, well, I wouldn't say finally, the tech has blown away the competition for quite a while. I would say the tech has been one of the most ridiculously impressive parts of this vehicle, but now that the interior has caught up, I would say, to the rest of the car industry, this vehicle is such a good deal, I would say. Like, the fact that you can get a base one of these for less than $40,000 and still possibly be eligible for the $7,500 federal credit, it makes this so attractive, I would say. Like, you get ventilated and heated seats, standard across the entire lineup, even on that base rear-wheel drive structure. So you don't even have to worry about stepping up to the long range, right? If you just want a vehicle that is meant for shorter drives and you know you're never going to go over 300 miles or something like that, 270 miles on the base is fine. Rear-wheel drive is fine in most climates, I would say. So if you are okay with that, you still get the same interior. And at the end of the day, if you want to add a bit more flair to your driving, you can step on the gas pedal, you can step on the accelerator and it launches you forward, right? 4.2 seconds is nothing to scoff at. I mean, these days, all EVs kind of get there with especially a dual motor setup, but it's fast. The range is great too. I would say 341 miles of range feels very accurate. I've been getting almost exactly that in the summer here in Minneapolis, and it's all around a very compelling electric vehicle. There's a reason the original Model 3 really changed the game, and this one continues that refinement. I expect to see a lot of these on the road soon. Cannot wait to see what they do to the Model Y, considering that is the best-selling vehicle they have, and it's going to be very important for them to kind of carry over that refinement to the Model Y, since this has really blown me away, and I did not expect that, because I really expected the Model 3 to kind of, I don't know, I felt like Tesla was kind of falling by the wayside. I wasn't really thinking too much about them. Obviously, the Cybertruck made a lot of splash, but I wouldn't say they made a splash for the right reasons. But, here we are with the new and improved Model 3, and I could not be any happier about this vehicle. I really think everything here is exactly what I wanted from Tesla. I feel like a Tesla salesperson, but I honestly have, it's been a long time since I've been impressed by the tech of a vehicle this much. And that's kind of why Tesla became so popular, right? It's the tech. It's not the actual vehicle itself, even though it really is a feat of engineering, I would say, but it's the tech. They are a tech company first, and I think that's really what makes this vehicle so controversial and also so good. So good. It really accelerates just like I would. It turns like I would. It does everything just kind of like a normal driver would, I feel. And I think that's super cool. And just, if everyone had one of these, I honestly think the roads would be safer. The car moves predictably. That's the cool thing too, is I think some people get scared that it's unpredictable, but it's very predictable. You can really tell when it hesitates because it senses a car coming, you know, at an uncontrolled intersection or something like that, or like you have a stop sign, but maybe they don't have a stop sign across the street, and you can really tell where it hesitates and obviously is over cautious, I would say. All right, so enough of me fanboying over this vehicle. I really hope you enjoyed the review. If you want to check out some of my other reviews, you can click up here. Please subscribe down here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, everyone. Bye. All right, here we've got Beach Buggy Racing 2 with your own Tesla Model 3 that you can drive. You can actually play it with the front passenger as well, but they have to like plug in either a joystick or something like that, or they can just use controls on the button here. We'll do one player here. This game is really difficult from my experience. I like this guy. Well, maybe I'll do Spaceship Guy, that's funny. All right, let's do him. You can choose which Tesla you want to drive. Do I want a Model S? Do I want a Cybertruck? I'll just stick with this base one. There are a shockingly high amount of options you have here. And you actually use your steering wheel to drive. It's very difficult. All right, let's go. Oh, this is a lot better with the steering sensitivity change. Whoa. Okay, I'm still not very good at this. Oh, why am I reversing? What the heck? Oh, what's this? Whoa! I feel like that's not very helpful. How do I use this? Oh. Oh, I used it. Oh, wow, I'm really bad at this. Oh, there's a big turtle. Oh, he has bees attacking the Cybertruck. Okay, I'm actually doing pretty well now. So you use your actual brake to brake, which I feel like must look so weird to other people. Whoa! Oh, wow, I just died. Okay, I want to use my rocket ship. How come I can't use my rocket ship? I got a shield. Cool. Oh! I just exploded that guy with my shield. They're kind of like red turtle shells or green turtle shells. Oh no. Oh my god, I just killed that plant. What does this do? Oh, I think I just... Oh, I'm like interfering with their sound signal. Wow, I'm actually doing pretty well. All right, I've got some rockets. Shoot. Oh, I hold it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. The game is not clear. Whoa! Oh, that guy put a upside down question mark and like killed me. Oh my god. Chickens! I got second! Oh my god.